Alrighty. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you, first of all, for being here with us today for the 2023 Dell Tech World Recap webinar. We've got some really exciting speakers here. So this will be a really, really great time for everybody. Make sure that you come with your questions, ask anything and everything that you got. These are real true experts and our advisory council members here with you. So I will be quiet here soon. Let me run through some housekeeping and then we'll get to the good stuff. So first, if you haven't heard, hopefully you have, but the Dell Technologies Unified Workspace Community and the Dell Client Community merged into one. We are Dell Technologies User Community now, your one-stop shop for absolutely anything and everything Dell. Come with your questions. You should have gotten a couple emails, so please pay attention to that and everything will be great. Secondly, we've got an upcoming event, so thank you for being here at this one. And you know us, we like to do 2 a month. So we've got a great conversation about delivering integrity and security with Dell Safe Supply Chain. If you haven't heard about it, you're definitely going to want to be there, learn some information. It's going to be super, super informative. And then last but not least, I told you I'd be quiet soon. It's time to meet our webinar hosts. So we've got Dhiren Patel, the Client Technologist from Dell Technologies. Thank you, Dhiren, for waving. If you've been with us for a while, you know Dhiren well. He does a lot for the community. And then secondly, we'll have Todd. Todd likes to call himself the face of DTUC because we plaster him everywhere. We use his quotes everywhere. If you were at Dell Tech World, you saw him, you met him. He was with us at the booth. He helped speak at our event. Todd's been awesome for everything and anything DTUC, great advocate. Not to be upstaged by Travis, who, if you're in the VMUG community, you know Travis well. He's the leader over at Atlanta and that general region. Travis has also been a major help. He's plastered all over our site as well. We ask a lot from our advisory council members and they never cease to amaze us. So thank you, the 3 of you, for being here with us today. I will turn it over to you, Dhiren, because everyone's tired of hearing me talk.
Yeah, no worries. And thanks for the intro there. It's an honor to be in front of this crowd again. I see we're up to 44 attendees, so that's always good. I know it's an exciting topic, having just come back from Dell Tech World and all of that, the fun and exciting stuff that I was personally up to with regards to working on the expo floor. And I'll share some of that. Jack, there was a comment I think that came through in the chat about opening the chat up. It came through in the Q&A. Is the chat live for everyone yet? We'll share screen.
Yeah, you could definitely start sharing your screen and start going. I'll make sure the chat is open.
Awesome. Perfect. So I'll start things off with just a quick little recap video. For those of you that have seen it, it's only 1 minute and 31 seconds or so. But it does a good job of painting the story with respect to Dell Tech World and just the level of production that goes into it. You will hear, some snippets from some key folks, but I'll go ahead and share this quick little video and then we'll jump in.
Welcome to Dell Technologies World, where ideas become innovation and where innovation changes the world.
Innovation has thrived at Dell. This has been our greatest year ever innovating in this company.
From storage to data protection to client to compute, Dell Apex is now the world's most comprehensive as-a-service and multi-cloud portfolio.
All of these innovations, they work together to give our end users the best devices for hybrid work.
No matter where customers are on that generative AI journey, we want to help them.
Edge technology and edge solutions are redefining the way people build their manufacturing lines, their solutions, their different stores.
Native Edge is the first platform that allows anyone at an edge location to simply plug in network and power and just walk away.
What Zero Trust means is never trust, always verify.
Cybersecurity is very critical to everything we do. With Dell, we are able to innovate using their products.
Right now, we have more power than ever before to turn ideas into innovations that fundamentally improve our businesses, life, and the entire world.
So I'd be remiss if I didn't thank any of you that did take the time to head out to Dell Tech World. Thank you to our customers, our partners, our employees, sponsors. It's a very, very lengthy list. A lot goes on to put on a production of this nature. And, we'll hear from Travis and Todd a little later around some of the cool stuff that they saw. We'll have some questions going back and forth. But I wanted to cover off some key high-level points just to bring everyone up to speed on what's going on. But if you probably noticed in the video, there was a person that looked awfully familiar. Yes, that's me over there talking to corporate Natalie. We had a chance to walk her through the expo area. I am on the client side of the house for all of you that have tuned in. So I get pretty passionate about client products and what we're doing from a Latitude, Precision, Optiplex celebrating, their 30-year anniversary. I'll touch on some of that, but key thing here, 30 years for Dell Optiplex, hence the Optiplex shirt. There's always a story with sometimes what I'm wearing on camera here. But there was definitely a mixer. Definitely, customers were able to check out the latest and greatest from a portfolio standpoint. I'm seeing some, reactions in the chat, which is great. 30 years is definitely a legacy. We really did something, completely different with respect to our Optiplex portfolio. And we really streamlined things by moving to a model number. We kind of parked that, but now it's based on form factor. Hey, you have the micro, small form factor, tower, and the all-in-one. And then you choose your config based on requirements. So hopefully, for the 55 of you that are on now, you've seen that. If you haven't, quick plug for, get in touch with your Dell account team. They can take you through some of those changes there. Or maybe you've heard it from one of the recent webinars. I think the Optiplex team may have joined in. You would have seen in some of the highlight video, hey, that 9440, we had big callouts there on the main stage. That you're seeing on screen there is that edge-to-edge zero lattice keyboard. I personally have used this device. Absolutely love it. I've got one over here. You are going to see that edge-to-edge keyboard. When you look at the touchpad, if I was in a Zoom meeting, actually had more time and joined in, you'd see the collaboration keys. But there was, Ed Ward talked about that. You've seen it probably on other webinars, but definitely key call out there is, hey, the innovation. Day one, let me move this over. I think there's something going on. Give me one sec. There we are. So with regards to day one, this was a picture from the main stage. Our good friend Brad Tompkins, I did connect with him. He posted this picture on Twitter and I loved it. So I'll touch on what that is. But day one's keynote really was about Michael Dell, Chuck Whitten on the main stage. They talked about kind of the innovation that we're doing, inspiring new ideas. When we go over to Chuck and what people would have seen on the main stage, there was really 5 key areas, right? The first is the future of work, and where I was personally stationed out, managing the remote workforce, the complexities that all come to life there. Then talked about, multi-cloud. It may seem like somewhat of an overplayed term, but the challenges from a customer standpoint are absolutely real. So he touched on some of the key areas there. Artificial intelligence, generative AI, probably the biggest buzzword, right after hearing about ChatGPT, taking the industry by a storm in December when it launched, and how much growth that we've seen. There's technical, ethical, and operational barriers to adopting AI, right? So definitely some things you need to think about. The edge, like multi-cloud, is talked about quite a bit, but there's also a broad name of challenges that come to life. So we've done some enhancements there. And then security, absolutely paramount. It must be baked into everything, right? Every server, every environment, and every endpoint, right? And we've really optimized our Dell Trusted Workspace story there. And if you attended some of the breakout sessions, you would have heard from some key experts there. Talking a little bit about, Ed Ward from a client product group. He hit the main stage, and this is my bread and butter, what I talk about with a lot of customers, the 7440 Ultralight. We had this particular product, hit the main stage. This thing is super light, sub 1 kilogram. If you haven't had a chance to touch and feel this device, I strongly recommend it. You're going to see, the river finishing. I'm throwing this up and down, hoping not to drop it, but it's really to give you the sentiment that this thing is super light. And that's really one of the key areas, right? We have a 13-inch, 14-inch in our 7000 series. He also touched on Dell Optimizer, how we're leveraging that artificial intelligence directly on the endpoint. If you're not deploying Dell Optimizer today, do me a favor. The next units you get in from Dell, take a look at Dell Optimizer and see if there's ways to include it as part of your corporate image, right? Definitely a big call out there. How we're leveraging AI. Next one up, he talked about the Precision 5680. This is the brand new 16-inch in our Precision 5000 series portfolio. And I love this device. It is absolutely amazing. We have redesigned this device, developed it from the ground up. You're going to see support up to an Ada 5000 class GPU. To think about a 5000 series mobile workstation, go all the way up to an Ada class 5000 GPU. We have never done something like that. Typically, you would have to move up to the 7000 series. Trusted devices, and I see Jack just gave a plug for the Safe Supply Chain, the webinar that's coming up. Part of that was talked about on main stage. Sustainability, something that is near and dear to my heart. You heard about Concept Luna, and I have a couple of pictures there. The Micro Factory, we actually had it on display. This has to be one of the coolest pieces of technology I've seen, bar none. I could probably entice Todd and Travis to give me a head nod. I'm sure they checked it out, and they probably feel the same way. I got a thumbs up there. I could pick on Brian. I can pick on Ben, who commented that they were on the chat. Do me a favor, did you check out the Micro Factory and Concept Luna? Hopefully you did. And we're blown away. I'm not just, coming off from the Dell perspective there. And we also announced, drumroll, Apex PC as a service. This is a pretty big deal. Now, Dell's talked about PC as a service for a number of years. We've had this offering. It's now finally included under that Apex umbrella. So when we talk about ISG, we talk about the other components, now we're able to wrap your PC, peripherals, any type of services offerings, but we're shifting to OpEx versus CapEx, right? The big, shift. Apex PC as a service, definitely great to see this come through. Day two was, we could talk about what Jeff Clark had talked about in his keynote. All of these have been recorded and they are available on YouTube. If you wanted to spend an hour hearing from Michael and company, you heard from Satya Nadella, Jensen Huang from NVIDIA, Jeff Clark, all the cool things. But some of the key things that we talked about on day two, Project Helix, right? Using NVIDIA and having generative AI on-prem, ton of advancements there. I am definitely not an expert when it comes to the ISG offering and the servers. There's, dedicated folks within Dell that could probably talk your ears off with regards to this. But Project Helix, one of the key things. Project Frontier, we talked about a couple of years ago at Dell Tech World. Now it's been rebranded and launched in Dell Native Edge, which basically is a software platform, new edge operations software platform to really help and simplify things, automate edge infrastructure, application deployment. Definitely a lot of cool things that come to life there. And then security, absolutely paramount to all of our customers. Project Fort Zero, definitely talked about in the keynote there, where it's delivering zero trust security solutions that's been validated by the US D&D, Department of Defense there. So, there's going to be some links that we'll follow up with. I don't have nearly enough time to go through some of the components. It's impossible for me to take 3 days of data and condense it down to 10 minutes. And I'm probably already over in typical Dhiren fashion. But there was, the mixer that we had, the get together for Dell Technologies User Community folks. These are some of the pictures. There was trivia night. There was the tech rally. Todd opened us up. Jack talked. We had Megna that was basically there. Tony saying, "Hey, your back's there, so let's do some little interaction." Tony, was that you over there? Did I nail it? Right at the yes. So he's giving me the feedback there, and I love interacting with folks. So feel free to come up. But people may have said, "Hey, Dhiren was kind of like Houdini. Where was he?" Right? I didn't see a lot of him, but you actually did see a lot of me. I was on the expo floor majority of the time, right? So I was stationed in a future work expo area. We had a cool interactive table. On the Thursday, probably people had flown out on Wednesday, but for folks that were still around, I was stationed at the Dell Technologies tour. That double wide trailer that kicked off at Dell Tech World. There's 40 stops in North America that are planned for this year. So we can send out that link, keep an eye out for that. This is some of the ways where we're innovating. I also had a future of work speaking session. I was stationed in the theater. We talked about hybrid work. We talked about the talent. How do we retain talent? How do we attract talent? How we use devices from an employee experience perspective. I touched on the commercial PC portfolio. I started off this webinar talking about the 9440R ultralights. There was a comment about LTE capabilities, so mobile broadband brought into connected devices. I agree 100%. That is something really innovative. You could be anywhere on the road, and now you're able to use your device and log in using mobile broadband. So a lot of the cool stuff there. Sustainability, we talked a lot about our moonshot goals. We are leading with our Dell Latitude and Precision portfolio. Almost 95% of the materials already are recycled renewable content, right? So you drop that straight in the recycling bin. We are 2023. This is 7 years ahead of our 2030 moonshot goals. So, we've been doing a lot about that. Circular design, talked about Concept Luna. Microsoft, the partnership there. We all know Windows 10 is going end of support 2025. Where are you on your journey to Windows 11, right? Yes, you may have just got off Windows 7 and moved to Windows 10. I feel all of that pain point that all of you went through. Now we got to think about Windows 11. Not only that, from a processor standpoint, if you think about Intel architecture, with our hybrid core architecture now, you want to be leveraging Windows 11 because you have the thread director that's going to be moving application tasks to the foreground and background. So definitely something to keep in mind there. Monitors, peripherals, we just launched a brand new, 32-inch display, 6K resolution, looks absolutely stellar. It's going to be pretty slick to see some of that. PC as a service, I talked about that. Definitely something to think about. Some of the teasers around some of the additional pictures that I took, the Future Work Expo area, we had a bunch of different personas set up where you could see the different hybrid work areas, whether, hey, you're working from home, working at a coffee shop. We actually had a coffee shop over here with a barista, so you could go grab a drink and then grab one of the tables and see what a mobile worker would potentially look at. Katie Green, I know she's everyone's probably familiar with Katie Green and the Dell Client Community, Dell Technologies User Community, the new name. She was there talking about Concept Luna. You saw the Micro Factory. I actually published 2 videos on both, so if you want to learn more, we can send that. We had a cool sustainability display, Future Work Expo area. So, just going through some of the home stretch here now. I do want to invite Todd and Travis and hear from them. But there was a ton of innovation that was on display. Mark Mann, famous photographer, very big Dell advocate of ours, uses precision workstations. Over here, he was doing headshots. I got my headshot taken. That's his precision 7000 series mobile workstation, taking the images directly off the camera, going to their server where there was a Precision 7000 series AMD workstation where they were doing a lot of the editing. If you haven't heard of Mark Mann, you got to check him out. And if you have an opportunity down the road, you know, get your headshot taken by him. He is absolutely amazing with his work. Now, the expo floor was massive. I've only talked to you probably about a small portion of it being the future work. There was security, there was edge, there was AI, and then all of our sponsors. You would have seen the Dell Technologies User Community. They had their own booth. There was a ton of areas. But if you wanted to watch a 7 to 8 minute video of Courtney Hughes's, you know, walking through, interviewing some of the folks, we'll send this link after. And then lastly, we had a pilot program where we had 4 Dell Technologies influencers. So Jillian, if you haven't heard of, you know, the content that she's doing from an edge perspective, Telco, she is a great person to follow, a ton of stuff there. Vilma Gonzalez, you know, she's got her Instagram page, Twitter. She, you know, provided content from her perspective. My good friend, colleague, Michael Ohanian, maybe he's on here. I haven't looked at the attendee list, but he posted a lot of great content on LinkedIn, YouTube. You can see it from his perspective. And then Ihab, one of the leaders there, multi-cloud as a service. He provided a lot of stuff from his perspective. So there's definitely some additional things that you can go take a look at. But again, I'd be remiss if I don't thank those of you that took the time to you know, fly out, head there in person, but also those of you that took the time to tune into the live stream. So you could hear from Michael, you could hear from Jeff and team. It is a honor and privilege to have been on site at Dell Tech World. Last time was 2019, so it's been some time. But I'm going to go off and we're going to, you know, open it up. I just want to do a quick check on the chat to see if there's any questions. I see we had some comments, Kevin talking about LTE. Ricardo wants to learn a little bit more about PC as a service. You know, reach out in region to your Dell account team. They'll be able to get you some additional information on Apex PC as a service. It's a broad offering. We're probably going to have touch points with maybe our services team if you're doing any type of config factory integration services, but also our financial team, DFS, because there's a financial component to that. So multiple people will want to talk to you. I think Jack's put the link there, which is great. And then I think we got, do you want to take the Dell Edge Blueberry on your 40 city tour to bring portable 5G showcase? So Brian, definitely good feedback there. We can take that back. Not sure if that's possible, but we'll definitely keep that in mind there. But I think we're good. I'll quickly check Q&A and see if there's anything else. What's the difference between Windows 10 and Windows 11? So great question there. Some could say Windows 11 is the same thing as Windows 10 from a backbone and just a graphical user interface on top. I will say there's a lot more to it when you think about the advancements from a threat director thing. What I would probably say is, hey, get some devices with Windows 11, play around with it for yourself. I've got a ton of Windows 11 devices. My corporate device is Windows 11, so we're actively deploying Windows 11 internally. But you know, I will stop sharing. We'll go into this view, and we'll probably kick things off. Jack, can I move over to the conversation piece now?
Yeah, head on over. I know Todd and Travis are ready to answer your questions.
Awesome. And you know, hopefully the team enjoyed that 50-foot overview. There is literally so much content that we could have talked about, but not nearly enough time, but we'll be sure to share the links afterwards. Todd, Travis, thank you so much for your time today and all the incredible work that you're doing with the community. You know, when you think about a event like Dell Technologies World, definitely a wide scale production as a customer, and we're really in a unique situation because both of you are Dell customers, long-term Dell advocates, and we appreciate the business there. From your perspective, you know, what are some of those reasons why end users, customers, if they have the budget to come out there to go to Dell Technologies World? Either of you, that first?
Yeah, so DTW, Dell Technologies World, is so much more than just seeing the keynotes on Dell's latest announcements, right? I mean, there's so much more to it. One of the advantages that I took or one of the things I took advantage of this year was the free certifications that are available out there. If you want to get Dell certified, you can actually take a certification test for free if you go to Dell Technologies World. So I got a certification while I was out there and didn't have to pay a dime for it. So that's a big advantage too, if being Dell certified is something that you're interested in. On top of the announcements as well. The expo floor is huge because you get to talk to like people like Dhiren are on the sales floor. You can actually walk up to them and talk to them and ask them questions about the product, and the product's right there. And so you can talk with the SMEs from Dell about what any questions that you have. And so having that FaceTime is really nice to have too, to be able to pick your brain and be like, okay, this is what I'm trying to do. What should I do, or where can you point me at? What direction can you point me in as far as what I'm trying to do with my product, whether it be a client perspective or a server or whatever. And then also all of Dell's partner vendors are out there too. So if you have questions about different solutions for different aspects of IT that you're looking for, and you still want to work with corporations that work closely with Dell, they're all out there, so you can work with those people too and get to know their solutions as well. So having that all in there, and then just the networking aspect too is huge, because I'm an early riser. I'm an early morning person, and so every morning they offer breakfast. I get to breakfast early, and I actually got to meet a lot of really cool people from around the world, just sitting down having breakfast and just talking over that table. And that was really good FaceTime with a lot of folks and picking people's brains. And then you're just constantly meeting people throughout the event. The mixer that we had Tuesday night was huge. A lot of people enjoyed that, and just bring the community together at that aspect too, and be able to just see the faces of everybody. I mean, you see our faces, but we don't get to see your faces so much. So being able to do that, I think is huge as far as bringing the community together as well.
Yeah, and I agree with you on the definitely on the networking thing. That's the one of the biggest points I get out of it, is being able to network with other Dell customers and your peers, being able to talk about your current wins, current successes, and challenges you face. So just being able to sit down at lunch, breakfast or lunch. Todd was usually done with breakfast by the time I rolled out of the room. I'd try to get caught up with email and things like that. So I was usually with the late crowd, but yeah, being able to sit down, just chit chat about projects and what other people are seeing there. I agree. The expo floor was it's a thing in itself to be able to see all the products, all the Dell products out there, partner products and solutions. There's no other place you can go to and see that much Dell hardware, and get your hands on it and talk to the solution engineers behind it. And be able to talk out roadmaps and things like that with the products. So
awesome. Thanks, Todd and Travis. You could probably feel the energy from the people just being down there in person. Todd, your example of the breakfast, just networking. Travis, the expo floor just being massive. I'd probably need to carve out a full day to see and have meaningful conversations with everyone on the expo floor. So if you definitely have the time outside of sessions, you soak up the knowledge and walk away. When we move to the next question here, being back in person definitely is a big thing. But you guys have also had the opportunity to attend Dell Tech World over the years. And Todd, I think about you telling me, hey, you've been pretty much every year for the last X number of years. Travis, I know you're in the same boat. What was new with regards to Dell Tech World this year versus some of the previous years?
Well, so the last in-person DTW before the pandemic was 2019, I believe.
Yep.
And so that was a very high energy event. But if you guys ever met there, I remember going there, and that was, the norm. And then the pandemic hit. And then last year we had our first first event. This is kind of, it almost felt kind of like an experiment as far as like everybody just kind of getting back out and together, and so it wasn't as high energy last year. It wasn't as the crowd levels were smaller last year. It was still very good and beneficial, very informative, but everyone was still just kind of a little timid as far as like, really networking and getting close and, and everything like that. So it felt different last year. Last year kind of felt like almost like an experiment type thing. This year, it felt much more closer to like it was back in 2019. A lot bigger crowds, a lot more energy. People were getting involved. People were interacting. People were, you could just see it on their faces that people were just really enjoying themselves a lot more. So I think people are just getting used to being back out there again, which is really good to see, really good to have that energy back.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. It's the this year there was that energy back, and I spoke with a lot of people, and some of the people were people that attended conferences every year, and they seem to have kind of an energy back with attending a conference. And then I spoke with a lot of people that were just first time attendees, and they were really really energetic about what they're seeing, what they saw out there. So that just basically kind of a little bit of return to the norm in terms of conferences. That was impressive. And just looking around, everything was about 3 times bigger than what it was last year. So I don't know if you attended last year, but it just seemed like the show floor was so much bigger. The attendees was so much bigger. I mean, it was kind of back to the conference of old, which I've always enjoyed.
Awesome. You can almost get lost in that the scale of how big things are.
It's also really interesting to see how Dell fine tunes the Dell Technologies World based on the current trends of technology. Like back in 2017, 2018, there's a big push on workforce transformation, right? And so, which was really kind of ironic because they pushed that workforce transformation right before the pandemic. It's kind of like the timing of that was kind of interesting. But and then you started to hear more about security, cybersecurity, things like that the folks have been done. And then now this year, there's a lot of AI and more security and stuff like that. So they really do tailor the announcements and the sessions to the current trends that are in technology. I mean, it is a relevant conference to go to. It is, relevant to what's going on in the IT world at the time.
Yeah, thanks for that. I think you get to see the global scale and reach, right? You talk to customers. In my scenario, you could see representation across the globe, whether it's in Europe. Talked to a lot of folks over there, Asia Pacific, a ton of people on the other side of the globe, and it's amazing. I remember back in 2019, I had an incredible conversation with an individual from Germany, and it was like, I never would have typically done this in a face-to-face, virtual meeting. Sure, but face-to-face, we have to rely on a conference like this. Now, some of the funner things, right? What were some of the most interesting things that you were actually able to see or potentially even experience at Dell Tech World? Todd, I'll probably ask you first.
So let's start off the thing that everyone's going to ask about, and that's Project Luna, right?
Yeah.
To be able to see that now finally, not just in pictures, but actually see how that puts together and how that fits and how that works was really, really cool. To see, what can be done from a technology stance, but also from a sustainability stance, right? As far as like just being able to upgrade the components of the laptop that you would need to and stuff like that. So that was really cool. The other really cool things that out there is just, of course, I'm an Alienware fan, and so Alienware has a presence out there, so I always kind of geek out about that and stuff too. But the collaboration that Dell had with James Cameron's company, Lightstorm, I think the company was, that was really cool too, to see that collaboration out there too, and how the stereotype is that multimedia companies use Apple computers for stuff, whereas but like a big company like Lightstorm, they're actually using Dell hardware to do all their stuff, which is really, really cool. And to see them talk about that and the relationship that the two companies have was actually really kind of cool to see too.
Yeah, Lightstorm and the work from James Cameron, absolutely stellar. For those that saw Avatar: Way of Water, the amount of data that gets generated from a video like that, you touched on that. It was a trailblazer session. I believe it was live streamed as well. So if those of you that did have a chance to experience that, absolutely. Travis, how about you? You know, most interesting thing that you saw?
Well, I'm glad you went with Todd first because it was 4 days in Vegas, so there's a lot of interesting things to see out there. And but to keep this safe for work, we'll stay to the show floor. If anybody visited our DTUC booth, we were kind of in the back of the Dell section, and we were right next to the kind of manufacturing and industrial solutions. It actually kind of just backed right up to our booth. So I got to spend some time and look around that. And I'm from the manufacturing space, so there's a lot of interesting things, be able to see like real live, applications of these solutions and the partners there. So being able to see there was a brewer there that, was basically showing how they have sensors and how they're using sensors in their environment, the things they're doing with the AI and some of the spaces. So it's really interesting, live demo of that kind of stuff right behind us.
Awesome. And now probably a tough one, considering we just talked about the most interesting. And we'll switch it up, and I'll ask Travis first. Is, hey, what was your favorite part of DTW? If you could hone in on one particular thing. Obviously, seeing Todd, Jack, the people in person. You and I got to meet face to face, but what was truly your favorite part there?
Yeah, I mean, basically our community event was, I think it was a huge success for the community. I think we had over 250 attendees, something like that. It was really, really a great event. I enjoyed getting to meet people. Aside from the meeting people and everything, we had like a mini tech rally set up there. There was magicians. We did trivia, DJ, music, drinks, food, everything. So that was kind of one of my favorite memories of the event. So I think it was a great success, and maybe hopefully we'll do it again next year and get to see more people.
And I think you got some teasers towards the end on how the rest of the year is looking. So I won't steal any of your thunder. We'll get to that in a bit. But Todd, bring us home here. What was your favorite part about DTW? And you can't say getting your security certification, because kudos to you on that. That is awesome, and definitely one of the benefits when you think about attending a conference like this.
So, I mean, if any of you have known me for any period of time, I'm a total gadget geek. I mean, I just geek out on stuff like that, little things like that. To be able to touch and play with stuff everywhere on the sales floor or on the expo floor is always a great time for me. I really enjoy it. But I have to mirror. I think that the biggest thing that I enjoy out of DTW is, I'm going to mirror Travis, is the networking, getting to know people. I'm the unicorn IT extrovert, right? So I like being able to meet people and talk to people and pick people's brains, stuff like that. I love doing that. So to be able to sit and talk with people and hear how you're doing stuff on your end, and learning that, hey, that's a different way that I could be doing it on my end, and just hearing people's stories I always enjoy doing too. So a combination of just being able to geek out on the tech and being able to just get to know everyone, the people who are here on these webinars, we see names and stuff, and just be able to be like, oh, okay, cool, good, glad to finally meet you. And just also letting people know that there is this community of Dell customers that we can all help one another and just support one another in our daily tech that we use. So
awesome. And I see Marvin put in the chat, hey, he was on the winning team. So shout out to Marvin for winning that trivia game there. But that was it. I think we're going to open it up to questions from the audience, Jack, and he's giving me the head nod. And then I think Jack will wrap up. And I know we're 40 minutes in, so we're doing fantastic from a timing wise. It may even give time back. Does anyone have any questions? You can put them in the chat. You can put it in the Q&A. Chat's probably easier as we have it. Give us some feedback here. Was it helpful? hearing some of the 50-foot overview announcements from me, hearing the customer perspective from Todd and Travis. Anyone looking forward to 2024 Dell Tech World? I know I hopefully want to get back out there. I saw Jack nodding his head, Travis nodding his head, Todd nodding their head. So I think we're gonna hopefully get back there. Questions, comments? Did you guys see anything really cool? Maybe you guys want to share your perspective in the chat. I know this is a webinar setting, so maybe a little bit difficult to put you off mute and invite you to the main stage here.
While we're waiting that, I'll go ahead and mention a couple of things I saw out there. That was that Latitude 7440 ultralight. Actually, once you actually pick it up and feel it, you can't get that without actually touching it. I mean, it's so light, and I'm trying to get us going on a scratch and dent here. So if you toss it around a few more times, we may have a DTUC scratch and dent sale later on.
There you go, Ray. You probably heard the intro there, putting it up. But no, I personally love doing this test with customers. Is I hand them the device just like this, and I say, "Hey, what do you think?" Or even before I have a chance to say anything, they either say, "Wow, holy smokes," or their eyes light up just carrying this from a look and feel. So, the 13-inch, 996 grams, sub 1 kilogram, the 14-inch, just a shy over 1 kilogram. But really, feedback we heard overseas, primarily in Europe, where they have more stringent to the requirements. But this is why we went to the drawing board last year with our 7330 ultralight. We now have a 13 and 14-inch ultralight in the 7000. Ricardo, the ultralights are going to be clamshells. We do have 2-in-1s in our standard aluminum. So you'll have a 13-inch, 14-inch, and drum roll 16-inch device where you'll see the aluminum. But from a 2-in-1 perspective, 13, 14-inch, and you'd have to be moving to the aluminum. So great question there, Ricardo. And I believe it was just to the hosts and panelists. So the audience didn't know that a question came in asking about the 7440 there, 2-in-1 versus clamshell. But when you think about it, yeah,
you really notice the weight difference in that when you hold a 5000 series 14-inch to that thing. You really notice the weight difference between the two, and they're the same screen size.
Yeah, and when you think about hybrid work, a highly mobile end user, maybe you have executives that don't like carrying heavier devices, don't be afraid to lead with a solution like this in our 7000 series ultralights. To Travis's point, who's trying to get a seed unit, talk to your Dell account team, try and get one of these in your hands, because that's not going to do it justice. I could pass it virtually, I could work my camera magic that I have here, but there's no way to emulate kind of that. Marvin's saying, hey, definitely looking forward to coming next year. He never knew about DTUC, and I hear that's the way how we're calling it now. So Dell Technologies User Community, and he's excited to be part of that, right? So definitely from that community engagement perspective, really appreciate the feedback. And Marvin, congratulations once again for winning the trivia. But if there's no further questions, if you want to talk about hardware, I'll pass it over to Jack to probably wrap us up, and some more questions, I think, for Todd and Travis. But I'll go on mute here. But thanks so much, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Dhiren. Really appreciate all the information. That high level overview was super cool. Even though I was there 2 weeks ago, forgot most of everything that was going on because it was just such a busy time. So it was just really, that's going to be a week of memories for me that's going to last a long time. And I felt the same thing last year. So if you haven't made it to Dell Tech World, if you haven't made it to one, talk to some people, talk to your account reps, see if there's anything that anyone can do to get you out there, because it is well worth it, to say the least. And right, all of you are true IT professionals. I'm here on behalf of the community. I like to say I'm pretty tech savvy, but I join these webinars, I'm a part of them, and I know that all of you know way more than I do about all of this. So if you even learn a fraction of what I do at Dell Tech World, then it is well worth your while. But on that note, right, just to echo what everyone has said, being in person, having those interactions, getting that networking done is just amazing. I was living in California when COVID hit, right? So I was on true lockdown. I could not go anywhere. It was pretty intense. So being back in person has just been an absolute blessing. And I know we can all feel that. So on that topic of in person, DTUC has some pretty exciting announcements, and our very, very first one of the Dell Technologies User Community Brew Tour will be hosted in Atlanta. Travis will be kind of our point guy there in Atlanta. As I've mentioned, that he is everywhere as far as community reach. So Travis, you want to tell us a little bit about what we're planning to do in Atlanta?
Yeah, so it's exciting to really host the first in-person DTUC event outside of Dell Tech World. So we're doing basically a local meeting in Atlanta. Well, you don't really have to be local to Atlanta if you want to drive all the way down from Nashville or come over from Birmingham or South Carolina, wherever you want to come from. We're doing it at Battle and Brew in Sandy Springs on October 26th. Battle and Brew is basically kind of like this arcade hangout. They've got a bunch of gaming stations, things like that set up. So you come in. We're going to have the Dell Tech Rally set up there. We'll have food and drinks. We'll have a little bit of a small little technical session. Then plenty of time to do the networking and play some games, things like that. So again, just like Todd and I mentioned, that networking is a big piece that we see so much out of this community. We're basically want to extend that out to, hopefully do this at some of the local levels and build the community that way. So, meet new people in your area.
Yeah, thank you, Travis. I mean, and everyone that's been here, right, for the longevity of either Unified Workspace or Dell Client Community, we started small, right? And we've grown a lot in the past few years. So if you're a member of other user groups, other user communities, right, I've mentioned VMUG a couple times, we are trying to build towards that, right? We have grown our community immensely. Like last year, I think at this time we had 4,000 members. We're over 8,000. We're nearly at 9,000 now. So we're really looking to build that interaction with our people in different locations. So I see a lot of questions, right? Are we doing California? Are we doing Minnesota? Stay tuned for 2024. That's when we are really trying to take this off, but we are starting small and starting with our advisory council with Travis and Todd. So Todd, I kind of lead that into, right, you're up next. You're going to be number 2 in Orlando. You want to tell us about Orlando?
Yeah, so if you guys want to come down on vacation to Orlando in November, we're having an event. So you guys in Minnesota, if you want to come down to Orlando in November, come on down. We'll let you come. But on November 9th, we're going to be at the Crooked Can just outside of Orlando. And we're going to have the tech rally there as far as, food and drink and just opportunity to just network and get to know each other. So if you're in the Central Florida area, or if you're in Florida at all, or if you want to come down and, go on vacation for a week that week and swing by, you're more than welcome to come by, and I'll be there, and let's have a beer together.
Yeah, that'll be fun. And right, I see all of these questions, right? Where's Minnesota? Where's California? The others that we have in the works, not completely confirmed yet. So, you can hold me to it. I'll take responsibility because I'm the one trying to get all these planned. But we are looking at DC, doing a form of a local meetup up in DC. So if you're in the Northeast, right, that's an option. And then we're working to get our way out towards the West Coast. So California, stay tuned. Right, with the new website, hopefully you have all joined, but we have been able to collect some more information about, right, what cities you guys are in, what countries you guys are in. And don't worry, we're not sharing that information out with everybody, so don't be afraid of that. But that's just for our own end to make sure that, hey, we want to be able to come to you. We want to provide these free events, these opportunities to network in case you can't make it to Dell Tech World. So,
Jack,
oh.
with that, is there a way if someone wants to get involved and have an event in their area and help us make that happen, is there a contact that they can reach out to us to try and make that happen?
Yeah, so that's me. And I manage the member services inbox. So if you guys don't have the member services inbox already, I will put it in the chat right now. But yeah, thank you for that call out, Todd. Definitely reach out to me and I will make something happen. We actually had an interesting call for a plan for 2024 in Topeka or Kansas City, that general area. So we might be coming there soon, right? St. Louis is in the works, Chicago's in the works. So definitely pay attention. And I see the comment about making it hybrid. That's something we're definitely looking into. We might have someone, put on a little GoPro and be a live action robot. That might even be me. I might be your robot. So that way people virtually can join and see the event. Yep, there's Kevin saying Michigan, right? So I love seeing that the community is so proactive in wanting to do this. So let me finish typing up this email or typing up my email. So you can all reach out to me, please, and I will be in touch. We'll set up calls, we'll get stuff planned. And yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to really working with all of you. And once again, right, just so we can understand, encourage your people, encourage your friends in your area to sign up for the website. If we see a lot of people concentrated in one general vicinity, that will prompt us to be like, okay, we really want to put on an event here. So fill out your information, join the website if you haven't yet, create your member profiles, along with just staying informed with everything going on with DTUC, right? There's a lot of great resources in there. As we grow, right, we get more and more partners, more people interested in getting their information out. So definitely take a look at the website if you haven't yet. We put a lot of work into it. So definitely, come check it out, come say hi, send me an email. Let's get this thing rolling.
Yeah, I think part of being a community is getting feedback from the community. We don't want to be just, the advisory council or Jack's community or anything. We want to hear from the community. So if you've got ideas, things you want to see, things you want to focus on, any of these things, reach out, and send us some information, send us what you're interested in. And that way we can, tailor this community to the community itself and build it up better.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you, Travis. To that point, right, the community isn't necessarily for us, all of us speaking here today. This is a community for all of you guys. So tell us what you want. We try and listen as best we can and provide exactly what you want. I know we look at the post-event survey that we send out and we try and tailor our next couple webinars off of specifically what the members and what you guys are asking for. So with that, right, are there any other questions? Todd, Travis, Dhiren, you got any more points you would like to make? I know we've got about 7 minutes left. Everyone's always eager to get to the survey and let us know what they think, but any other final thoughts or questions from the audience?
No, I'll just say thanks again. It's Dell Tech World, really big event for Dell Technologies as a whole. So again, thank you to the customers, partners, sponsors, all of you that took the time out of your busy calendars to head down to Vegas and just be immersed for 3-4 days. It's not an easy task. You had to manage your inbox. You came back, you probably had escalations up the yazoo or whatever it was, but we certainly appreciate it.
So I got one more plug for DTW that I forgot to mention earlier. Another thing that you can do out there is they have a lot of live demos with experts there to walk you through demos of different products. So if you're trying to think of something that you want to do in your environment or anything like that, you can go out there and they can actually spin up a demo for you a couple years ago, I took advantage of a live demo of Workspace ONE as an example, and to learn how it works and everything, and someone could actually sit there and answer your questions too. So that's another advantage up there, is having that resource as well as the live demos. And I think Travis, you took one this year too, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, I spent about a half day in the hands-on lab area, just doing
hands-on lab,
some of the different things. Did some things with the 10 clients, did some things. It was VxRail, so yeah, that's also a good point that neither one of us really pointed out, but it's till now.
Yeah, so solid call out, ask the experts. So there's basically a dedicated spot, people there, and then there's, just rows of systems that you can go sit down and, get your hands on with some of the tools or some of the platforms. But great call out around there. I didn't bring that up either.
Perfect. Dhiren, I'm seeing a lot of comments about your Optiplex tee.
So 30 years, that's why I'm wearing it. Don't forget, 30 years of Optiplex, big year. Last year, Precision celebrated 25-year anniversary at Dell Tech World. This year was, Optiplex 30 years. So, hey, who's next, right? Let's see what's going on.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Dhiren. Thank you, Travis. This was awesome. I mean, it looks like the members really appreciate it. I see a lot of thank yous going through. Yep, Marvin, you were at the 30-year celebration, so glad you were there. And I'm really happy you had a great time at our party. I mean, a lot of work. Gabby, who's not on the call, right? She's on my team, and she put a lot of time, effort, and energy into that party. So I will make sure to share the feedback with her. And expect even bigger and better things next year from DTUC at Dell Tech World next year. So if you don't have enough reason already just to go get your hands on literally everything and experience everything that Dell Tech World has to offer, here's one more. Come to our party. It's a good time. I do want to say it's the best party at Dell Tech World, but there are other sponsors that rent out rooftops and stuff like that that have awesome parties as well. But this is your community. So come join your community, come be a part of it, meet your fellow community members. It's a great time. And with that, I will drop the survey link here at the end. So as you know, right, 4 random people will be selected who fill out the survey to win a $25 gift card. So make sure you take a look at that. If you don't collect it from the chat right now, it will be emailed to you along with a bunch of different resources and things we talked about today. So a lot of stuff Dhiren had, a lot of stuff Todd had, right? We will provide all of those resources in that email. Also check out the DTUC website. We're going to get those posted along with this recording if you ever want to come back to it. Email me if you want to do a local event, and hopefully we see you in Atlanta or DC or Chicago or eventually Minnesota or wherever we're going to do all of these. So look forward to seeing everybody in person and hopefully at our event on the 20th of this month. Time's flying. I don't know how it's already the end of the hour. So thank you for being here with us. And once again, Todd, Travis, Dhiren, thank you. I know it's a quick turnaround to get this post Dell Tech World, but our members really appreciated it. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Thanks.
Thank you.